In the previous episode, I ripped out some old carpet, pulled out some plywood panels, threw away some very old and manky fiberglass insulation, installed new carpet, and of course some new insulation. Covered the plywood panels, put them back in the van. Before I made any more progress with the interior build of our campervan, I wanted to install a basic 12-volt electrical system. Our van started off life as a community bus for a council on the south coast of England, and it had been converted by a professional conversion company, and they'd also installed some basic electrical components to run the interior lights in the back and a couple of other things. Before I installed the cabinets, I also fabricated a panel insert for the right rear window, which was going to be behind the tall cabinet. Once I'd completed the paneling, I proceeded to tint the windows, then fit blackout curtains. I installed a 110 amp hour lead acid leisure battery in the engine compartment using a second battery tray that I purchased off eBay. I installed a T-Max split charge relay system that has a remote LED monitoring panel that I fitted near the steering wheel so that I could keep an eye on the starter and leisure battery voltages as I was driving. The 12-volt fuse box powers all of the internal habitation electrics. I added some electrical points and charging points to the panel behind the driver's seat with the little voltmeter so I could keep tabs on the leisure battery. I used 12-inch long LED strip lights that have a swivel mechanism and their own on-off switch. I repurposed the damaged trim piece that covers the rear light cluster and fitted a 12-volt charging point and switch to power our fridge. I then had a small hookup lead fabricated, which runs from behind the fake fog light on the right rear of the T4, which is a common place for people to fit a hookup connector. It conceals the connection quite nicely, and it means that you don't have to drill any holes in the side of the van. The lead for the electrical hookup point passes through the same grommet as the wiring for the rear light cluster. The short lead runs from the hookup connector into the inside of the van, where I fitted 4-plug power strip that is fused, of course. This was essentially our basic 12-volt system in the van. No solar panels or anything like that, because we knew that we'd be spending the majority of our time on campsites with Hookup because we were traveling with the family, and solar and the rest could come later on. Existing wiring that was in the van from its original conversion was a massive time saver, and of course saved a bit on the pocket as well. After securing the bench seat in the van, I measured the distance between the seat and the back of the van to determine the width of the cabinets. I then built both cabinets out of 12mm plywood. The front fascias are also 12mm plywood, with holes cut in for access to the storage areas. I fabricated 2 slider drawers, one for the cooker and one for our fridge, and then covered all of the cabinets with the same patterned fire-resistant vinyl that I'd used on the side panels. On the back of the cabinet, I fitted some brackets to hold our oars for our inflatable kayak, as well as a strap to secure the beach umbrella. In the lower cabinet, we would house a 2-burner hob with oven. Our cooker is a model made by Camper called a Roast Master. It has a 2-burner hob and an oven, and it makes great pizzas. And below the cooker, I had an area to house the gas bottle, as well as some storage for tools and the like. I'd also installed a small square Smeg sink. Underneath the sink was a storage area. In the tall cabinet, we have place for the fridge and the portable toilet. Our fridge is a Dometic CombiCool RC1600 EGP, runs on 12 volt, 240 volt and gas. so it slides out from the cabinet to give us open access to the top. Below the fridge and porta potty compartment, we have a longer storage bin where we can store fold-up chairs, emergency equipment, and of course power leads and hookup leads and the like. Also on the lower cabinet at the back, I have a fire extinguisher as well as some storage bins which are repurposed Mole ammo bags. On the panels on the back doors, I've fitted some more storage bags and the axe. On the left hand side, above the lower cabinet and the cooker, I've fitted a lamp. I've secured it with some straps which holds it in place perfectly. It also keeps it in a position that's easily accessible should we need it. I also installed a USB charging port that's powered by the 240 volt power strip. It sits behind the bench seat and is accessible only when the bed is down. We decided to use camping gas 907 bottles. You can get camping gas replacement bottles pretty much anywhere in Western Europe, so it's a good choice to make. Because if you run out of gas with a Calor gas bottle, you will not get a refill in Europe. We carry a spare gas bottle in the van as well to power our gas barbecue, which is also a camping gas kettle style, similar to a Kodak, but works just as well. We've used this all over Europe. Particularly in the summer, you're not allowed to have an open flame in places like Spain and Portugal. Very, very restricted use of open fires. So a gas barbecue like this is ideal for outdoor cooking, and we've made good use of it. Once I'd installed the cabinets and covered them with the vinyl, we did a few campervan trips in the UK and France just to see if the layout was going to work for us. It proved to be a perfect solution, with the cooker on the one side and the fridge on the other, as well as all the other kinds of things that you carry with you in your campervan. For the doors, I decided to use lightweight 15mm plywood, which is very common in the campervan and motorhome caravan industry. I had these made up by Campervan Conversions down in Devon. They cut all our doors to size and trimmed them beautifully. So what I'd like to do is cover this aperture with a custom cut door that will fit over there and open down like that. And because the doors are going to be overlapping, I'm going to use some cranked hinges that fit on there. Doors will obviously flap down like that. The table will come across over here and create our dining area, and for the DVLA that should be all good.